This is part 2 of 3 of this topic. Look for part 1, Introduction and Historical Reason, in the description box if you haven't already watched it. Going back to the common straight punch, I will show you how I normally demonstrate the structure of the straight punch using not myself, but two participants. One is the test subject and one is the tester. Before that, I must state that the straight punch I'm showing is the standardized straight punch that instructors would teach their students. What I mean is, this is the shu of the shu-ha-ri. Shu-ha-ri is a Japanese martial art concept that describes the stages of learning to mastery. Many experienced black belts find themselves in ha or ri stage and may have their own methods of the straight punch with different structure altogether. What I will be showing is the shu or by the book teaching that is consistent across most styles of karate. What I will be showing is basically how my sensei demonstrates it. I won't be using myself, but I will choose two students. One is the test subject and one is the tester. It's best to not use myself for this demonstration so that I don't influence the results. Usually for the test subject, I'll choose a student who has the habit of punching with the shoulders raised or the elbow curve. I'll ask the test subject to stand in front of me, say on the left, and the tester on my right. Then I'll ask the test subject to perform a punch, however he does it, and leave the arm there. For the tester, I'll ask him to use the face of his palm, in this case the right hand, and smack across the fist of the test subject as hard as he can, just like that. And then I'll ask them to remember how the impact feels. For the test subject, how does it feel across the arm, and for the tester, how does his palm feel. Then I will ask the test subject to follow me. First, place the forearm right in front of your face with the fist pointing up. You could place the palm of your other hand on the elbow if you want to. Relax your shoulder, hold the fist, turn your wrist so that your palm faces forward, then drop your fist down until it's straightened. But not 100%. Say about 95% straight. Because at 100%, an error to the lesser is a bent elbow, but an error to the more is a broken elbow. So you want to leave a room of error for both ways. So 95% straight. Then pull back the other hand as a Hiki-te. Then once again, drop the shoulders. Make sure that the first two knuckles are the outermost part of the fist. And hold that position. Once again, I'll ask the tester to use his palm to smack across the fist of the test subject as hard as he can. Then I'll ask them how it feels this time. As long as this is done correctly, I can quite guarantee that for the tester, you will feel a sharp pain at a small point of his fist. And then for the test subject, you feel a more impact across the arm without compression here. This is an experiment of testing only the structure of the arm without any additional support from flexing of the muscles. If I were to use myself as the test subject, I could subconsciously or consciously flex more when the structure is supposed to be stronger. Or as the tester, I could subconsciously feel more pain or simply claim to when the structure is supposed to be stronger, and vice versa. Another thing to point out is to not state beforehand which structure is supposed to be stronger or weaker, as this may subconsciously influence the tester to feel more or less pain, or even the test subject to flex or unflex. With these conditions in place, this is a solid experiment. After the demonstration, I will then explain the mechanics behind the results. So the shoulder has the greatest range of motion in the human body. It's It's comprised of a ball and socket joint, whereby the ball is the head of the humerus, or the arm bone. Yeah. And the socket is part of the scapula, or the shoulder blade. The third bone is the clavicle, or the collarbone. So the clavicle-scapula combination, the collarbone-shoulder blade combination, is quite free to move, allowing you to raise and lower your shoulder, project forward and project back. So when you raise or project forward your shoulder, you're creating space between its current position and the most stable position. The most stable position is the resting position. It is where it's closest. So when you create that space, you're creating room for suspension or damping, which absorbs some of the impact, which then reduces the impact on the other end, which is the fist. When you point the elbow out, for most cases habitually, you also raise the shoulder. And that creates that space, that creates the suspension. So what you want to do in a punch, in a karate punch at least, you want to point the elbow down. This will naturally, essentially what you're doing is the muscles around the shoulder, here, and here, is pulling the shoulder to its most tightest and stable position, hence reducing chance for suspension, hence increasing the impact at the other end, the first knuckles.
Another reason to lock your shoulders is to avoid potential shoulder dislocation. A possible scenario on how that could happen is if your arm is extended out in the midst of a punch and your opponent, intentionally or not, hits you right at the shoulder. If your elbow was pointed out, the shoulder tends to be raised and in a loose position, and the likelihood of dislocating your shoulder at this position is much greater than if your shoulders were tucked in at the most stable position. Another possible scenario is if you've already dislocated your shoulder before. For those in this situation, you know how easily your shoulder can pop out just by a sudden exertion yourself without external influence. If you still want to practice fast and hard punches, locking your shoulder will lower the likelihood of your shoulder popping out again. Thank you for watching. Please look in the description box for part 3, how to train it. Like and share and hit the YouTube bell button for notification updates. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, do subscribe. I am Sensei Zed and this is a Karate Zed video.